Fitspot. It's a smartphone-based app where children can, whoever is doing the experiment can actually measure real variables and plug into their simulation and get the values. So that is an intelligent way of overcoming this problem of not doing the real experiment and not doing the real measurement. So I would like you to take more on that, and if needed, we can discuss it offline.
So I see many hands, I have to stop here.
I really want to make one comment.
People are having
one thing that just one.
If I ask you, I have to go serially.
No, I just wanted to add one point over there because I teach optics. So optics experiments, especially when you have Newton's rings or similar experiments, it's very difficult to describe to them how the image is going to look like. So when we ask them to check out on VLabs, then it is more clear to them, and when they come to the lab, it is very clear and they know what to expect. So this point I just wanted to add.
We are really running out of time, so
Can I make one comment?
We can add in the planetary section more time.
we can maybe
I want to just add on to what was comment made there by Professor there. I think however exciting you find this, it actually kills the very spirit what the experiment is supposed to do.
No, we are not saying this
No,
is the end of
it
it.
is.
We will
It's
continue.
a very
at least
controversial,
discuss.
but I think that is what it is. It
Please,
doesn't
if you-
teach people to do the experiment.
Okay, I just, I'm sure there is value and all of us are, so I am on the critique part. But I think it's important to raise something deeper, which is also, madam, what you are saying that it's to attract them and then you teach them. What I think that what's happening, that more and more, how you are used to learning also matters. It's not only about attracting, and even at school, in fact, many of us are struggling to bring more experiential learning at school age, because how you get used to. If you get used to learning only through apps and those kinds of tools, you don't have the ability to learn any other way, and that affects it widely. And it's something more to think about.
Okay, I think that.
Thank you all for your valuable suggestions. We do implement. Thank you.
Well, I'm really excited to see the kind of questions and the discussions. I think we really need to be conscious of the time because, like I said, we have a boundary condition towards the end where the public lecture has to start on time. We can't afford to have overflow of time. So please, let's take the discussions in person. Because I think this is a very interesting topic and all of us have some opinion about it. Can we just move on to the next?
Do we move
Please.
to Dr. Samrat now?
Good afternoon. So I was given strict 7 minutes time.
7 minutes, one.
So before it is setting up, I will start with a small story. It comes to my mind when the discussion was going on. There is a company who is, maybe many of you know this story also. There is a company who is manufacturing a lot of goods, right? So it's big instrument, big equipments are there. And one day that the throughput for one day is maybe $1 million, right? If one day the instrument down, then $1 million is the loss. So one day this early morning the machine got down. So the CEO was in very stress mode that we have to set it right because one day is $1 million. So they asked who can rectify this. None of this employee could rectify that, right? Then somebody told there is a cycle mart nearby who was the ex-employee of this, right? Who can come and rectify. Let us give a chance to him. So I believe now you understood this concept. So they brought that guy and he came and he saw. First he looked into that machine on his hand. He got some feeling, right? Then asked to get a hammer. Then took the hammer and put 3 strokes, right? Then machine started working. So then the CEO asked, "You put the bill now, we'll pay you money." Right? So he has put $10,000 as the bill. Then the CEO asked, 3 strokes, $10,000? Then he said, no. For 3 strokes only $3, but where to put that stroke is remaining dollar. Right? Right. So when we do these kind of things, we have to, but we need students who will have experience in both. Not only how to stroke, but also to where to stroke. Right? So if we don't take it seriously, many times it will bias to one side, so we will not get real result from the students. That's all it came to my mind. Okay, so I was given the talk, technical education. The original title was how effective it is if it is purely online, but I took the leverage to slightly change it, how to make it effective, right? This is purely from our personal experience. We have all gone through this pandemic period. And with the online teaching, I have, I started online teaching maybe during 2010 or 8, right? So we were doing this business for quite long time. But when the pandemic came, everybody was forced to do this online teaching. And just so out of 7 minutes, 2 minutes is for advertisement.
No, 7 minutes I will give you a word now.
Okay, fine. So I am from University of Hyderabad. There is no need to tell much about this. We are one of these good #1 university in the country. We come in best 10, whichever parameter you take. I am from School of Physics, by the way. So we have 3 centers: Center for Advanced Studies in Electronic Science and Technology, Advanced Center for High Energy Materials, and Center for Earth, Ocean and Atmospheric Science. We do a lot of good exciting works. And there are lot many research areas in the school: condensed matter physics, theoretical physics, optics, and electronics. You can see in electronics also a VLSI, signal processing sensor, and I belong to this group here. Okay, we have all these facilities. It is little, again, advertisement item. So whoever wants to use these experiments, they are free to come to our department or the university and use these facilities for the research purpose. We have good facilities for clean rooms. You can use it, nominal fees. So now the business starts here. Okay, right. So when we talk about the technical education, let us understand what is the meaning of that. Right? Mostly it is a skill-based, right? So when you talk about the skill-based problem solving is the main outcome of this kind of education. And then when this online teaching comes into picture, how to balance it, right? How will impact skill-based learning in the online? That's a big challenge. So the technical education covers a broad range of subjects, from engineering to management to the technology. And normally the outcome, what we are interested from the student is the skill, basically. Or you can say that good marriage between the knowledge and the skill, but skill is the main thing what we see. And online teaching, we use all kinds of platform to teach the subject, impart the knowledge. But at the same time, when it comes to this technical education stuff, we have to see how to impart skill to the students through online teaching. It's a big challenge. There are some studies which indicate that the modality of teaching does not determine overall impact of effectiveness of the course, right? Which is also true in our case. We have experienced it. Then what impacts the effectiveness of the course? It is the surrounding, it is the environment, right? And the interest of the teacher, so the willingness of the teacher, how he impacts the training. So the design of learning environment, or the stimulus, or you can say that the external factor which affects how to make the course effective. So the interest in teaching comes first, then things move from that. So you all seen the difference between online and offline. I don't want to talk more about that, but let us say quickly go into the technical education part. So the technical education is mostly content centered. It's hands-on, skill-based, design-oriented, and focused mostly on the thinking and the problem solving. So this is the last one, for thinking and problem solving. How to impact is the main challenge. So earlier in the normal classroom teaching is a teacher-centered classroom. So many of us migrated from the normal classroom teaching to flipped classroom, right? By which we are able to impact, we are able to balance between the skill and the knowledge. But shifting to the online teaching is a very intentional job, very focused, it is very time consuming work, very difficult. But if you dare to do it once, then you will enjoy it. So this is what many of us has experienced. So normally this online teaching, it is quite normal to any other subjects also. We have course management, class management, content management and homework management, right? If you take it seriously and systematic way, then there is a good chance that we will make the class more effective. But always you have to keep in mind that what is the outcome we need. Is critical thinking, problem solving skills. So in the normal traditional classroom, many times we give emphasis to the memory, but when you go for the online teaching, memory plays a secondary role there. Right? So there are some golden rules what we, from experience we get into this. The 6 E's are here. They encourage student-faculty contact. So at the end, you can see the subject matter expertise plays a crucial role there, right? Not the technology. Technology is only enabling factor there. Many of us, many misconception that technology takes the lead role, but that is not the truth. So to encourage cooperation among students in the class, encourage active learning, energize students, emphasize task, time on task, effectively communicate, give prompt feedback. If you are doing this, if you are practicing these things, classes are more effective in online mode. But then we need to be planned a little bit. More planning is required if you are going for the online teaching, particularly in the engineering educations. It may be common to the other education, to all the other streams also. Before moving to online, we have to ask ourselves what knowledge and experience are required for the faculty and the students in concerned course to adopt the online teaching, what infrastructure is required, what adjustments are required in the classroom, what is the backup plan, and what method to teach what part of the course. Many of the, we have experienced it also when suddenly we are forced to do migrate from face-to-face to the online teaching. The way we were teaching face-to-face, we started teaching, many of us started teaching the same way to the online teaching also. So that was a major failure. And we have seen that students were not showing interest. Basically, we missed the engagement between the teacher and the student in those kind of environments. So the typical 2-3 theories are there for learning. So I'll just give a summary of these. One learning theory is known as behavioral learning theory, which tells that learning is an observable change in a learner's behavior caused by external stimuli. So the environment matters there, this theory tells. Cognitive learning theory will tell how you are able to motivate and it's an internal mental phenomena rather than the external environment. There are all conflicting and different kinds of theories are established in the learning mechanism. So as a teacher, if you want to make it effective, it's always better to take portion from each and combine it and start giving the talk. So the main problem what we are facing in the online education, online teaching is the engaging students, right? So if you want to engage students effectively in the classroom, we have to focus on 3 factors. This actually they are coming from the inquiry framework model, which are well established and studied. One is we have to say the teacher is there in the classroom. So teaching presence, there is social presence, there is cognitive presence. So we have to take care of all the 3 things while giving online class. The classes will be more effective. So the teaching presence, we have to facilitate the students' learning activity, provide students with a timely and supportive feedback, provide students with explicit instructions. So these are the main things which teachers has to do in the classroom. Otherwise, student will feel detached in the classroom and they will not show interest. The video is off and you don't know whether they are there in the classroom or not. Similarly, you have to also take care of the social presence. You have to project as if the students are there in the normal classroom. So like calling them by name and asking them questions, making them small breakouts, giving small problems, engaging them with the discussions. So these are the things makes the engagement process a little stronger and the classroom becomes effective. Third, the cognitive presence, which is equally important. Now, what is the objective of this course? Accordingly, you have to break out the lesson plan and ask questions in between, right? There are other things are also there, like how we will make the assignment, how we will make the homework. And normally in the online teaching, we have asynchronous and synchronous communication. We have to balance between these 2. Many of us at the beginning, we thought that okay, online teaching means you ask them to read themselves and you give hundreds of assignments. So that again had a backfire. So you have to balance between how much you will asynchronously communicate and synchronously. How much online we will have on video talking and how much assignment we give. There should be proper balance between those 2. This is called as time management. How much time they have to spend on the assignments, we have to be very careful about that. And the teacher has to communicate effectively with the students because they are not in the same classroom. We should be consistent with our communication with the students, prompt in replying. Many times in the face-to-face classroom we give humors, but in the asynchronous communication, that is a not good sign. That we would avoid that. This thing is very important. Moving from face-to-face to online doesn't mean that we load them with assignments, right? We have to make proper balance between this. This is one golden rule we have to keep in mind every time we go to the online class or we are planning lesson plan for the online class. The learning outcome, teaching activities and the assessment should be aligned right from the beginning. Accordingly, we have to plan which class, how much asynchronous communication, how much synchronous communication has to be done, and what kind of assignment, how much time that assignment will take. We have to plan everything and give that to the as a capsule to the course. Many times, since you are experienced in the face-to-face classroom, we do it in different way. But when it comes to the online class, we have to be very particular about these things and divide our class accordingly. So plan and prepare for the lesson before the class is a very important thing. Other things we are more or less habituated to this. The main thing comes here is how we will handle this skill part in the technical educations. Simulation laboratories is one part of that, what Dr. Sarla was telling. But again, there is we have to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, right? It cannot be only simulation. Maybe one experiment they have to do in the lab. Parameter changing, they can do that in the simulation. But if you totally offload them to the simulation, there is a danger that they will not know where to stroke, right? But there are many cloud-based softwares are available like this. It can be used. but your physical experiments should not be stopped at any cost. So if you don't handle the equipment, you will miss that experimental skill, right? That's what was coming to. So it will hamper the cognitive growth of the student, and you're not able to think and correlate the things. And one more problem with this online teaching, particularly in technical education, is that so much information is available. So the students get confused. So the teacher's role is to guide them. Okay, you read this, you read that. Otherwise, they get lost into the information. Then if you do only this online teaching, they feel detached from the classroom, right? So once they feel detached, they lose ownership to the institute and to the classroom also. So that's how also the performance degrades there. Many times in some courses we have long derivations also, right? So since we are going from face-to-face to, or if you are going from face-to-face to online teaching, we have to carefully plan those lesson plans. And maybe the flipped classroom is the best option for doing this. In the face-to-face, we deny many times this derivations. So in the online teaching, yeah. So we can, I was reminded 5 minutes I had. Right. So many times if you are going for the online, then we can say that it's a flipped classroom. Before class starts, we have to give them materials. Before class starts, you have to give them recorded videos. So classrooms are only for the discussion purpose. After class, again, you have to engage them. So pre-class, class, and post-class, we have to plan it properly, right? So in first year, we got lost what to do, but in second year, we came to the line while doing all these things. And since I belong to the electronics and communication engineering subject, we teach related to that. Theory subjects, there was no problem, we were able to manage it, but in lab course we had a severe problem. So lab course also, we have two kinds of lab course, one is simulation oriented, correct, and one is equipment oriented. So simulation based lab course, we could find this cloud based software, so we could do it, but in equipment based experiments, we just could not do it. We brought the students and they did it. So in conclude, I can say the success of this online learning largely depends on the active participation of all these students in the class and also interest of the teacher, right? Mainly that. Right? The success depends on preparedness, willingness, interest and course planning of the teacher. And we need to spend more time